Yo, welcome to the ride, elite minds collide. Get ready for the hustle, hear the echoes of pride. From the sea where the dreams are built, shine bright, making moves top tier when it feels so right. Interviews with legends, secrets that they share. If the stories of success, find the vision, get a win. Jimmy Nelson in the house, turning dreams to gold. Tune in, take a listen, walk the fortune.
Welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast live on this Friday morning. Super excited to be going live this morning, and my guest will be joining me here shortly. And I will be excited to get this rolling. So now we are live on KGCI Radio. Super excited to have that happen this morning here, too. First time running on that. Very exciting times, and going to be going this what it's going to look like going forward, guys. Going to be a lot of button pushing and some other things happening over here. So as we roll into this, but very excited to be live on there this morning. As usual, you can find the Elite Real Estate Podcast wherever you find podcasts, whether that's iTunes or Apple or Spotify or wherever else you can find it. But that's where we are at. So very excited to have this show rolling this morning, rolling right into Season 2 of the Elite Real Estate Podcast. So if you missed Season 1, no worries. You can go back and find it, like, again, anywhere you find your podcast. So all good things this morning. Very excited to have my guest coming on here soon. And we will be going over all things 2024, wrapping up 2024, rolling into a strong, powerful 2025. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that taste like for you? And we are going to be covering all those things. Again, how do you wrap up this year? What does this year look like for you? What will it be like to wrap it up here and roll into 2025, which, you know, many forecasters are calling potentially one of the biggest years in real estate ever, depending on how the cards fall here for rates and all the things that will be happening as far as movement goes and everything else. So as that happens, we are going to be talking about all those things, wrapping up 2024 and getting on 2025. And now I am super excited to welcome in my guest, Mr. Curtis Shewell.
What's happening, Jimmy?
There he is. There he is. There he is. Yeah. Standing ovation for you, my man.
I love the crowd applause. I feel good about that. That's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. So welcome in. We are, like I said, we are live on KGCI Radio. We are streaming there. We are streaming live on YouTube. We're all over the place this morning, man.
We are everywhere.
We're everywhere. We are everywhere this morning. You look good, man. You look really good.
You know, for a guy that just got home 3 hours ago from a football game, yeah, feel good.
You know, when we talked about scheduling this, I don't think we thought about that.
No, there was zero forethought with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we thought about the Lions playing on another Thursday night, right?
I love that. You know, all these marquee national TV games, you know, the Thursday night, the Sunday night, the Monday night games. When you're getting those, that means you're one of the best teams. And we're clearly that. And last night we proved it. So I'm real excited about what happened. I mean, when you're missing 9 of your 11 starters on defense, and you still beat a team that's on fire, that shows a lot. This team's put together, man.
Yeah, 13 guys out hurt right now, like total.
13.
Like 13 players out, and then more.
18 guys from the beginning of the season that are out. We have the most guys on IR than any other team in the league.
Yeah, and then we lost a couple more last night.
Yeah, I don't know what the long-term look at that is. I'm cautiously optimistic that they'll be okay. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I said, well, I think you and I could have, like, they're going to be like, hey, Jimmy, Kirk, can you guys come play real quick?
Yeah.
We just need you to
suited up yesterday. Yeah. I was ready for them.
we just need you to fill in.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, well, look, man, I know we wanted to talk about this morning, like wrapping up 2024. What this year's, it's been a weird year. It's been a strange year market-wise, kind of real estate-wise. We've had some massive changes that weren't really changes. We've had some different things happen, and then like and bouncing into 2025 and kind of like forecasting what that'll look like. So, what's been your perspective on 2024? What's that look like for you from a marketing real estate standpoint? Like what was 2024?
Yeah, 2024 was really interesting because the market's been been soft. We know that the inventory's been low, but that's been going on for the last few years.
Yeah.
I think what we talked about with a lot of people, and we kind of kept a lot of agents, heads right with, if you're down 30%, you're average. That's what the national average was, around 30%. And then when, for some regions, it was even worse, right? They got hit even harder. And if you were anywhere near where you were the year before, and even near there, because you were down that year from the year before that, you were doing well. And I know it's perspective, right? What's well? Well, if I'm making less money, I'm not doing well. Well, we had the biggest boom we've ever seen in real estate in history, a few years ago. So you've got to come off of that, right? There's always peaks and valleys. It's the stairs, right? That's how it works. So when you look at it and you really put your business in perspective, you can't look at it as just a 1 year type plan. It's literally over time. What is it doing? What does your business look like? So you have to constantly be building your business. If your business is growing, then you stayed about the same from the year before. Then you did really well because you were growing. And I know that sounds really weird. And a lot of agents are looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I was like, no, you stayed where you were. You grew a lot because, again, the whole market's down, and it was a very, very difficult year for a lot of people. The amount of homes sold were less than we've seen. What was the stat? 35 years had the lowest amount of sales, actual homes being sold. That's kind of crazy. You have an interesting dynamic too. The Generation Z, which is the first-time home buyers, the 19 to 26-year-olds, they're not buying houses; they're renting. And so you saw a spike in the rental markets, and then you saw, a huge shift downward in the amount of purchases. So it's that group that is not buying, they're renting. And it's interesting. And a lot of them are renting from their parents, and they're staying in their parents' houses. So I was watching a couple different things, and I was watching one where the guy was explaining why that is. And it was interesting. And it was not the generation not doing it. It was the parents telling them not to. So it was really interesting. Usually it's always pushing them to, hey, go get your, first home ownership's, big deal, blah, blah, blah. My daughter, my youngest out of my 5 kids, the youngest one, she just bought her first house. She's 23, and she bought her first house literally just a couple days ago. So I pushed her to, hey, you want to own a house, you got to stop renting. You got to really get in and, have ownership. And right now is a good time to buy because the market flattened. So if it flattens out, it's a good time to buy. So she took advantage of it, and I think she's going to really get a reward from that over the course of, this year, 2025 coming up. Then the following year, I think you're going to see a nice little surge upward.
Yeah. Because I think if what they're saying, if we do get rates to drop or whatever, she's going to gain that equity, right? She's going to hit that. She's going to have that equity gain, which is huge. And I think that's here's what's cool about being a realtor, right? Like, I think our kids have an advantage when we talk about this stuff because we didn't have that. Like, our parents didn't. Mine didn't. Absolutely didn't talk about like, well, you should do this or you should do that. It's like, no, my parents were like 40 hours a week, work overtime, save your money. You'll be great. And I'm like, and that's how I started out. And then I look back and I'm like, that was dumb.
Yeah. It was good advice from your parents who weren't giving great advice, and it's not that they didn't mean to. That's what they had heard. That's what they were told. That's what they knew. That's what they believed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sales were terrible, right? You didn't want to go into a sales job. You didn't want to have a sales job.
I've been being told that my whole life. What are you doing? Commissions? You work in a commission-only job? Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? I'm like, it's the only way I would have it. I mean,
right. That's why I get up every day. That's why I get up every day.
Right. Look forward to it that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. And I think 2024, as we're wrapping up here, what's your advice to your realtors? Like, what's your advice to wrap up the year strong? Like, what's the best thing to do, here rolling through the end of the year?
I think what gets missed is they're like, oh, well, okay, the year's wrapping up, so I'll just, look at what I had and that's what I've got. So I'll start again, in January and get going. It's like, that's not how this works. And yet people have this in their heads. And again, like you said, outside influences, people are telling them that too. And it's like, you're again giving very, very colossally bad advice because the deals that you're closing in January, the money you're getting paid in January, February is what you're earning right now today. So, an average transaction, even though lending institutions and a lot of what's going on out there, what's really cool is you can close deals a lot faster than they used to be able to. So that, the speed, expediting these transactions, getting to the closing table is happening a lot quicker, which is great. The reality though is that getting to that is still going to be your problem. You're still looking at, a 3-week window, sometimes 30-day window. Some people still need occupancy. That's a thing that didn't go away.
Yeah.
People still need occupancy. So closing a deal that we do today, still might not close for 30, 45 days. And even though they can close them in 2 weeks and, there's lender, I can close one in 10, 12 days. Well, you can in a perfect file. How many perfect files do you have, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Not too many, right? There's all kinds of stuff with hair on it. And what you also have is there's more contingent deals, right? We coach, teach, and train agents every day. And what are we hearing constantly? Well, I've got another client that I have to write a contingent offer. We're seeing a lot more contingent offers. So even when you're accepting contingent offers on your listings, because listings are sitting a little bit, what's the average days on market? It's like 28 days.
Yep.
So, we just had a deal with one of our agents. She just did the deal, closed. She had closed yesterday. Well, the house at 32 days on market and the people were freaking out. Well, it was only 4 days beyond the average, right? It was right in the average. So the time it takes to get these deals done, where you had a listing, it's going to sell in 3 days, that 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, within a week, it's definitely sold. If you're doing anything right, aren't happening right now. It's a much softer, slower market. So the market's soft that way. The inventory is still there. When you get the right house, you got to jump on it, but they're not closing as fast.
Yeah, I find it's been very and we're in the Metro Detroit area market, but I find it's like pockets, right? Like I just had a listing I sold, put it on the market Thursday. We accepted an offer Saturday, 15,000 over asking. Boom, done, gone. Right now it was a great house, right? So it was they literally didn't have anything to do in the house. You could move in today, right? Problem is the people that I've listed for are buying. And they're gutting the house that they're moving to. He's going to rip the kitchen out and do all this stuff. So I'm like, well, we need occupancy, right? Like, and they were like, we can close this really fast. I'm like, don't close it so fast. We don't need it. I don't need it closed that fast because I've got this other one that I need to like give them some extra time on, So again, it's like pockets, right? Because the house that my clients are buying has been on the market for 4 or 5 months. It's out in Ray Township,
Sure.
so it's like out in the country. But at the same point, it was overpriced, right? Same old story, right? There's only reason that we don't if it stays in the market for longer than market has changed. It's we're looking at 28 days now. But the only reason it's staying on for longer than that is there's something wrong with the house or it's overpriced. Like that's the still thing that the two things we still know. And that I don't think that's ever. I don't care what market you're in. I think that just is what it is.
It is. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. The more things change, the more they stay the same. There's still a process that has to take place. And if you stick to the process, you already know how it's going to play out. And I think a lot of people get a little lost there and they try to, create a new wheel. And I was just talking to an agent and she was trying to explain to me, no, I'm reinventing the wheel. I'm like, well, why?
Right.
Why? I don't get it. Why? It's already there for you. Maximize the opportunities, and make sure that you're doing the best that you can with what you have, and make sure you're really hitting strides. And if I wanted to tell somebody, back to your question of to finish out 2024 going into 2025, I would say whatever you do best at, do that right now. Hyper focus on what you do best. Do not do the parts that you don't. Well, I'm going to try this right now. It's a bad time to do that. Don't try something that you're not good at. You're like, well, let me try working on those. I'm not good at that. Stick to what you're really good at and really, really dial into it right now. And then finish the year out, which starts your next year off strong. If you start January strong, meaning your December was good, so January starts off strong, the closed business, you're going to have a good year. It's just how it works. If you can power through right now in December, get January to have 2, 3, 4 closings, 5 closings, and then just stack them, right? Every time you have a closing, you got to have a pending behind it. Every pending, you've got to have 4 people in play. And you might need, 300 people to talk to get all these numbers to line up for you. So that way you have a phenomenal year. And that's what you got to do.
I love that. And I think that's one of the most important things that agents can pull out of this. That little golden nugget that Kurt just dropped, just get hyper focused on what you're good at.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the biggest problems that real estate agents have in general is like we're like, whoa, well, look at this, and we see people have success in other parts of their business, right? Like people will have success in this, and it's like, well, I want to do that because they're good at it. Well, am I good? Are you good at it? First off, are you good at that or no? Right? It's social media, right? People will say, I'm just going to do social media, and then I always have to question back when I'm coaching agents is, well, what does that mean? Does it mean you just post a few things and, you know, pray that somebody calls you and says, I want to sell my house? Is like, that's your social, if that's your social media plan, that's a terrible plan. Like, we need to figure that part out. So I think that's always interesting is like, find like, and I always say, and you and I feel the same way about this, like three pillars of your business, right? Give me 3 pillars. Give me 3 things that you do really good. And then we can add more later. Give me the 3 things that you do really well. Right. And then let's just get hyper focused on those 3 things and stop trying to do 10 because you're trying to do 10 and you're it's like sand through your fingers. Right. You're not holding on to any of it.
Yep.
So
that's a good visual. I like that.
Yeah. I think like you're trying to hold sand in your hand. Right. And everything just slipping through. It's like, man, this stinks. I'm trying to hold on to everything. I can't hold on to nothing. So we got a couple comments here. Al said the Kurt Shewell Lions morning voice.
Yeah, it is, Al. I apologize for that. Mm-hmm.
Ron said he's got the caffeine.
There you go.
But Al gives you some props here. He says, talk about grit. Kurt got home a few hours ago from the Lions game and dressed to impress and ready to roll for the show. ABR, always be ready.
Yeah. I think, no, you got it, right? You commit to things. So this would be a good example for closing out your year. You commit to things, make sure that what you're committing to that you're delivering on, and then over deliver, right? Under promise, over deliver. We hear about that, but all right, here's an example. Yeah, my voice is trashed right now. I mean, I was yelling, screaming, and everything. My voice in the tailgate last night was getting, because it was so cold outside, but we had it wrapped nice and we had our heaters in there and we had a really good, we had a great time with that. And then go to the game and then, cheering and screaming, and the game goes down to the last second of the game. They kick the game, field goal as time expires. So yeah, you do this in your commitment. So by the time I got home, you get home 1:30 in the morning, get to bed by 2:30 and you're back up, 4 hours later to do this. And you just got to commit to doing it and give your best and make sure that you're always over delivering on it. Make your promises and keep them. Your clients will respect you. You don't always have to be right and you don't have to be great all the time. But what you have to do is you have to show up. You have to do what you say you're going to do. Say what you mean what you say. And when you do that and you deliver, your clients are going to appreciate you. They're going to love you. They're going to be willing to kind of roll with you. And you've got to be able to lead them. So by just doing that, you're always going to be there for them because they can trust you. And that's the key to the whole thing. Does your client really trust you? We talk about, here, I'll give you some right now. People buy from people they know, they like, they trust. We talk about that all the time. We've heard that forever. People really hammer that. I've seen books that are written about that. I'm going to debunk that just a little. The truth is, if you're doing your job right, you're asking all the questions, it's always about them, and we really literally keep it about them. They don't really get to really know you. They know who you are. That's about how much they know. They shouldn't know that your little Johnny plays soccer and that you're the mom that makes the Rice Krispie treats that are this thick, and I make the really good ones with the little sprinkle things, and they love them. I've used extra marshmallows; they're so good. They should not know that. That's not something that gives any value to them. Oh no, Kurt, but that's how I build rapport, and we're like-minded, and I'm just letting them know I'm just like them. That's not good. You're trying too hard to be their friend. They don't want you as a friend. They might be nice to you. They might appreciate some of these things. That is not what they're looking for. They're looking for an agent to be that. You're the professional. You're the voice of reason. You're the one who is the calm in the storm. When things are going to get difficult and bumpy and kind of go sideways, which every deal does. Every deal has hair in it, just a question of how much. When that happens, you have to be the barber. You have to be the one brushing the hair. You have to be the one that keeps it smooth, keep it good, keep it relaxed, keep it together. That's your job, not to be their friend. You want to be their friend at closing. When we're handing out keys and kissing babies, that's when we're their friend. They shouldn't know hardly anything about me, so they really don't know you. Yeah, they met you. They know who you are. They know you're their agent. That's what they should know. The second piece is, we have to get them to like us. No, the key to that isn't so much that they have to like you. People can argue with this, but here's the truth of it. You have to make sure they don't dislike you, right? If
Right.
they dislike you, you're out. You're out. They're going to ghost you. You're done. They've just replaced you. They don't want to work with you because they don't like you. Your job isn't to get them to like me. My job is to get them to like what I provide for them. My job is to make sure the value I'm bringing is what they like. It doesn't have to be me. And we get caught up in, and I talk to agents who get lost in that. Oh, but here's what I called them up and I was doing this craft thing and then I was talking. I'm like, what are you doing? You should be talking to them about helping them get their home sold or helping them find the house that they're trying to buy. That's what you should be helping them doing, not all these other things. You really need to make sure you're locked in on what your client needs. It's the song, sometimes, you can't always get what you want.
Right.
If you try sometimes, you find you get what you need. You need to give them what they need, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Right? They'll get what they want, but give them what they need. The third piece that really matters is the trust, right? Know, like, trust. So they don't really ever really know you. And then the second piece is they don't have to like you. You have to make sure that they don't dislike you. They like the value you bring. That's what they need to. They need like the value you bring to the table. And then the last piece is they have to trust that you know what you're doing and that you're the best person for them. You don't have to be the best agent. You don't have to have the biggest numbers. You don't have to be number one at everything in the world. You just have to be the number one agent for them. That's all you need to be. That's where they're going to trust you. Do what you say what you mean what you say, and make sure you over deliver for them. When you do that, they don't care how many years you've been in. They don't care how old you are. They don't care where you live. They don't care what you drive. They don't care where you live. They don't care about anything else other than that you're a perfect agent for them because you get them. Empathy will get you there. Hypotheticals will get them to trust you. And that's how it's done. If you do that and you master those things, I promise you'll have a lot more success.
I love that. Yeah, like you have to get them in the house before you go to the housewarming party, right? Like you can't have the party before you do that. You gotta get in the house first. So, but it's a real perspective, and we got some more things here. David Gittin says, "I'm seeing far fewer showings but strong buyers.
Mm-hmm.
My last closing had 5 showings and 3 offers, and he closed 9,000 over asking."
David, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. That is what is happening out there. Now, David's a guy who's a go-getter. David's a guy who's constantly got people in his pipeline. David's somebody that's going to really, really over-deliver for his clients. And this is what's happening. So if you just listen to what he said, right? Jimmy, say it again so they really hear what he did.
Yeah, he said, "I'm seeing far fewer showings but strong buyers. My last closing had 5 showings and 3 offers, and he closed 9,000 over asking."
Okay,
So 3 of the 5 people wrote an offer.
yes. It used to be, right? Here was the numbers. Here was the numbers from 2022. For every 9 people that came through the house, you got an offer because there were so many people coming through houses. Well, 2023, that changed. 2024, that drastically changed. David's giving you exactly what happened to him, but this is what we're seeing. This is a great stat, and those are really, really, really strong. So David had the house priced right. I can guarantee you that. And he had the house looking right, so it stays. Sometimes just declutter, right? Get things out. Get big furniture out of little rooms. Make it look bigger. Make the rooms look bigger. A fresh coat of paint runs miles. If you can just clean the house up, make sure the house doesn't smell when you open the door, right? People get used to what it smells like to them, so to them it doesn't smell. To outside, when you walk in, if you're like, whoa, the first thing that happens, you get like a whoa type smell of anything, good, bad, right or wrong. It's like, whoa, it's strong, right? Get vanilla. Vanilla sells, right? Apple pie. I always tell everybody, don't forget the basic things. Take an apple, slice it up, throw cinnamon on it, put it in aluminum foil, just keep a little bit open on the top, put it in the oven on the lowest setting possible, and let it just sit there for hours. The house will smell like warm apple pie. You will have success, right? So,
Yeah. Tom Tiller said, "But I'm best at reinventing the wheel."
That's exactly right. And that's what that agent, she was just telling me that yesterday, or day before yesterday, no, I'm going to reinvent the wheel. I'm like, oh man, why? You're not having success with what you're doing. Why are you reinventing something that you haven't even mastered yet? It's like you said, Jimmy, she's having the housewarming party. You haven't bought the house yet. What are you doing?
Right.
So please stop doing that.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for disaster, not success.
It's crazy, right? We just got a question from YouTube too. So it says from Melissa, Winter Park. She said, "You're a new agent. This past year being what it was, and you haven't sold anything. How do you know what you're good at?"
Ooh, good question. Love that. Love that. Okay. Um, when if you're not sure what you're good at because you haven't sold anything, right? You're new, or you sold a few deals even. You put a few deals together. Then what I would recommend is, what do you feel most comfortable doing? So you've got to find your niche, whatever that might be to start with. Now, it doesn't mean what you start with today is what you end with tomorrow. So you've got to be good at something. So you've got to pick something. If it's for sale by owners, and a lot of brokerages, they don't have leads. They don't have lead sources. They don't have any way to generate anything. So they tell them, hey, just talk to everybody you know and call for sale by owners and call expires. And you go back to the old school. Everybody that's been doing this for 20 years, 30 years, whatever, anything over 20 years. You hammered the FISBOs, you hammered the expired list, and that's where you picked up business. You can still do that for a new agent. That's typically the hardest start. I would suggest do open houses, but become religious about them. And when I mean that, I mean go to church with this thing. You've got to start an open house that you're having on Saturday. It starts on Wednesday, right? Tuesday, you've got everything laid out for it, and you start the call campaigns, the emails out, the blasts out to every single agent on the planet, every big team in your area, in your market. You've got to be sending stuff out to them, letting them know, hey, I've got this house. One, it's for sale. And it's kind of what David was talking about a little while ago, right? He promoted his one listing really well. And guess what happened? He only had 5 showings. 3 offers came in on that thing out of 5 showings. So he had 5 people to show up. So it's a smaller audience. If you can do the open houses, well, Kurt, isn't that counterdictory to what you just said? The open houses are having less people. They are. However, you're going to get some people. And if you're new, you've got to start talking to people. The only way you're going to get better at doing what you're doing and become a successful real estate agent is by doing those things, practicing, rehearsing. So you got to be training. We'll get into that. But when you're going live, you've got to be able to get in front of a mass amount of people, the most possible. So the way you do that easily is make sure that you're doing open houses, because here's the cool part. You don't have to have a listing to do an open house. It could be somebody else's listing. You just have to be the one willing to go do the open house. So it starts on the Tuesday, getting everything set up and getting the message out to realtors and to brokers and to brokerages and every single team. Go to the teams. The teams have the most amount of agents and they do the most amount of business. Go to them, because let them know I've got an open house and please come and see it. Then on Wednesday is where you're handing out your flyers. So you print out the flyer on the house, cut sheets on them, just a little sheet, go out, and you literally knock door to door to door. Take the street, whatever street that the house is on, take that side street and wrap around the block behind it. Just do that on Wednesday. On Thursday, you're going to the same thing, the other side of the street, and wrapping around the block goes the other way around it. Do that one on Thursday. On Friday, go one street out here, and make sure that you go back and resend the same stuff you sent out to all the agents on Tuesday. You send it to them on Friday, because agents have very short memories. We get busy, we're thinking of other things, and then we forget that the open house is tomorrow. And then tell them, hey, I've got this again, the open house tomorrow. Now you're saying, why are you doing it with realtors, Kurt? Because you need to drive business to these things and get people in there. The more you tell, the more people you tell, the more people that know about it, the more opportunity and the more traffic you're going to get. I would do that if I had no business and I was new and I wasn't closing any deals and I wasn't really good at anything yet. I didn't know what I was good at. I would start there, because now I can sit in a model or a home that's for sale in an open house, a listing, and sit in that house. And everybody that comes through, I can greet every single one of them. I can get used to talking to clients. I can get used to asking good questions.
Yeah.
That all comes back to training. You've got to be working. If you're new and you haven't figured out what you're good at, get on morning calls, get on training calls, free training, not stuff you have to pay for. You don't have to pay for it, right? There's some phenomenal training out there that doesn't cost you a dime, that nobody's going to ask you for money.
Yeah.
Just go to those trainings and do this. And I know Melissa, she's a student to our game, right? We coach, teach, and train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We do the podcast on Friday, and make sure that every day of the week we're getting you started off the right way. We do it 7:30 in the morning. Why? Because we got to get you up, got to get you routines in place. If you do routines, you're going to have success to go down that path. And if you do that, you're going to be really, really good at what you do. You've got to learn how to talk to people. You've got to learn how to ask the right questions. The agent who learns quickly to ask the right questions is the agent who has more success quickly, and you'll find out what you're good at.
I love
I
that.
hope that long answer helps.
No, yeah, it does. And I think because, as you know, again, coaching agents, right? When we talk about coaching agents, and you and I do this all the time, is then the agents will tell us, well, I just need to get in front of more people. I just need to get in front of more people. Just go door knock the neighborhood that you're hosting the open house in.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, you're in front of people. Like, We just like, here, you're better in front of people. And we hear that all the time. I'm not as good on the phone as I am in front of people. I need to get in front of more people. I need to get in front of more people.
Right.
Good. Go get in front of more people. Here's your opportunity, right? Door knock the neighborhood you're hosting the open house in on Wednesday or Thursday. Invite the neighbors in an hour early for the special neighborhood deal, right? That you're going to give them the tour of the neighborhood. And again, we also statistically know that when a house goes for sale in a neighborhood, typically like 3 more are going to go, because everybody's going to see, well, if John got this much for his house, I know I can get this much, and if Bill sold his house for that much, I can get this much for mine. And we know how that goes. So again, it's just opportunity. But like, to your point, now you're just practicing too. You're having these conversations. I tell agents all the time, first of all, to start over again, I didn't join a team right away. I went just on my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have joined a team right away. I looked back at all the headaches and just ramming my head through the wall to figure stuff out. I wish I would have joined a team right away. And I tell agents, you should get first, if you're a brand new agent, find a team right now. You're first of all, you're going to get business quicker, right? And that's the thing we all struggle with. How do we get business quicker? Well, you get business quicker joining a team. The other part is the support, the thing I had John Kitchens on. We were talking about this, and he said the same thing. But when I had the girls on, when I had the properties such as Carol and Christy on, they said the same thing. But you interview the team. Don't let the team interview you. You go have the conversation with their sales director, and you have the conversation with them, and you find out where you're going to fit.
Yeah. The one of the things that people do wrong, and I'm going to contradict a lot of people's thoughts on this stuff, is there we go. Is that they go into, like you just said, that interview process, and what they're doing is they're not interviewing them, and they go in and the only thing they ask is, what's my cut, what's my cap, what's my fees. And if that's what you're looking for, you're not going to have success. You're having the wrong conversation, and you're leading yourself down the wrong path. Now, I'm not suggesting don't know how you get paid. Of course you know how you get paid. That is not the first thing that you're looking for. What you're looking for is, what do you need more than anything else, right? And Jimmy just nailed it. You need support, you need training, and you need leads. So the support gives you really your culture. The support gives you somebody holding you accountable, and you need to be held accountable. When you're new, you don't know what you don't know. So you have to learn all kinds of pieces, which means you have to show up. You have to be in an environment that's going to give you the opportunity to learn what you don't know. So step one. So when you join a team, to Jimmy's point, is you're gonna have all those things. You're gonna have accountability at you constantly. You're gonna have the opportunity to get more leads, but more importantly, you need to be trained. Now, when I talk about training, and agents get confused, I'm going to spend the next 6-8 weeks, just training and learning how to write contracts. Oh my God, please don't do that. You aren't making any money. Those are non-income producing activities. Yeah, but Kurt, you said be trained on these things. I'm confused. All right, let me even break it down and clear it up a little bit more for you. If you join a team, the thing that I want you focused on is, what's the opportunity there? What's the training look like there? Not tell me that, we have the best training. Great. What does that look like? What does that mean to me? What would it look like for my first day tomorrow? If I joined you tomorrow, what does day one look like? What does my first week look like? What does my first month look like? And you need to ask those questions. When you're, like what Jimmy's talking about, you're interviewing the team that you're potentially going to join. If they just, it's going to be great, you're going to love it. If they can't give you specifics and show you, I always tell them, we should all live in Missouri, the show me state.
Show me state.
Tell me, show me. If you're not going to show me what I'm going to get, you're not going to show me what I'm going to do. If you can't show me what it looks like, then I am in the wrong place, because this isn't going to work for me. Remember, this is where you have to be hyper selfish. This is such a selfish thing, because you need to be, because this is your business, not theirs. They're looking at you as come into them. They're looking at what they can get from you that benefits them. You need to look at it. What can that team benefit you, and how does it benefit you? Once you're there, right, be conducive, right? Don't be a jerk. You got to be a team player and be on the team. But you've got to know the rules of that team, and the rules that you get to play in it before you ever join it. Don't walk in and go, okay, I'm here. Just tell me what to do. And, they didn't give me anything, so I went home. Absolutely not. You have to treat it. This is a job, and you need to treat it like a job until it's so good, so fun, and you're making so much money that it's just fun. But it's a job at first, because you have to learn it. You You have to learn to get outside of your own skin. You have to get outside of yourself. You have to learn these things. Do not worry about what your cup from splitter. If I could tell you you're going to make $100,000 and you're going to make that 100 grand, and that's your magic number, let's say, do you care what the cap and the cut and the split is if you get your 100 grand? Stop focusing on the wrong stuff. You're focusing on pennies instead of focusing on the dollars. Don't focus on what it costs. Focus on what you make. I
Right.
need to make money. I need to have success. I have to put deals together. I need to know how I'm going to get paid. If Jimmy, I said to you, hey, you're going to close 10 deals in a month, you're only going to make $1,000 on each deal. If you said, well, if I only did one deal, $1,000, no, I'm going to work a lot for $1,000. I don't think that's a good deal for me. Okay. Well, what if you have 10 of those a month that we're going to give you? Now it's $10,000 a month. Now you're at 120,000 and your magic number was 100. That's a great team for you. That's a great fit for you. Think about it. It's not about what you get on each piece. It's how much do I get overall.
Right.
It's the same thing we teach our clients. It's not about what my commission is. It's about what you net. You don't care what I make. You care what you get. Same thing on a team. When you go there, make them show you what their support looks like. Make them show you what their training looks like, and make them show you what their leads look like. Don't just tell me I have them. Show me what they look like. Show me where I get them. I want to see that. That's the interview you should be doing. So I think that was phenomenal advice, Jimmy.
And you're right. Like, and here's the thing too. I think because we're kind of programmed this way, right? Like, again, it kind of goes back to our parents and whatever else. But like, we're programmed like when I'm going on a job interview, like they're interviewing me, and I think the power of being a 1099, right? An entrepreneur, who we are. We need to flip that, and we need to flip that thinking of I'm interviewing you, man. You want me on your team or no? Right? Like I'm not just joining anybody. Like I'm only going to go where it's going to benefit me. I'm not going to go where it's going to benefit you. I want to go where it's going to benefit me. And I think that as realtors, we have that, like you and I have that mind shift now, right? Like if you want me to come join you, like you and I are going to have a serious conversation about whether I'm doing this or not. But at 23, I was probably like, I'll take the job.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, but again, it's that mindset shift. And I think some agents learn it and some don't, but I feel like I think that's one of the things that we need to pass on to people is that's part of our coaching, right? Part of our coaching is you need to be the one interviewing teams that you're going to, or even brokerages, right? Like if I'm going to look at a brokerage, it's got to be what for me. It can't be for anybody else. It's got to be what's the best fit for me, right? And we talk about this all the time. What are they giving you, right? You need 5 things, right? I need leads. I need business. I need I want ownership. I want all these things. I want all these 5 things, and I think that's important that agents need to start understanding is that you have the power as the agent. Melissa just said the same thing. She said, same rules go for when you're looking at brokerages. People always ask, what's your split? What are the fees? But what are you getting for those splits and fees?
Yep.
And what overall are you paying? Like, that's the message.
Yep.
That's the message right there.
Yep.
And
I don't care what my cuts and caps and fees are. If I'm getting support, I'm getting world-class top-of-the-line training, masterminding opportunities, and then I'm getting leads. That's the production side of your business. So your 5 bubbles you're talking about, Jimmy, right? So your support, your training / masterminding, and leads, that's your production side, those 3. And then the bottom 2, which would be the business side, running your business like a business, right?
Yep.
We get into this because we want to be independent contractor. We want to have our own business. Well, the business is, I need ownership in it. If there's no ownership in it, why am I doing it? I'm going to be doing it for someone else for what? Forever? Then I'll never, ever be able to retire. I'll never, ever have any wealth. I'll never, ever be able to do it. And then the other piece is I need to be able to leverage and be taught leverage. So that means I can share in revenue that comes into the company so I can get paid multiple ways. If I only have one way of getting paid, sell a house, get a commission, that's all I get, then I need to be in a different environment, right? A different brokerage. So Melissa's spot on. When I'm looking for that, do I get all 5 of these things? It's like if I only get 2 of them or 3 of them or 1 of them, well, then that's probably not a good fit for me, right? Because if I need these 5 things, I know my business needs these 5 things. If I don't have these 5 things, my business will never thrive. So if I don't have these and I only have 2 of them, well, it's probably not going to work out for me for very long. You can go there, right? You can go there, you can learn some stuff, but you're not going to end up there and you're not going to stay there because it's just not conducive to you.
Yep. And then we got learning to take the E out of emotion and staying in motion. I like that one.
Oh, I like that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bethlehem. Nice.
I like
Nice.
staying in motion because that is a problem, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to what we talked about emotional intelligence, right? And having taken emotion out of it, right? Um,
Hmm.
it's calling if you're what we're calling expired, calling FISBOs, whatever. If you're a heavy dialer, like you have to take the emotion out of it because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
gonna get hung up on and you're gonna get told to f off and you're gonna get told all the things,
Sure.
you know.
And then some. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then some, right?
All of it.
I never forget. I had a guy I called. It was an expired lead. This is years ago. This is when I first started. And he, it was eight. It was 8:30. I'm calling expireds, and he picks up the phone, and I'm like, hey, this is Jimmy. Before you start, you're the eighth effing realtor that called me this morning, and he just like loses it on me. So I just let him talk for a minute. I let him get it all out. You know me, smile and wave.
Yep.
Like I'm not emotional about
I
this.
would
Like,
wait.
yeah, you're yelling at me. It's fine. He gets done, and I go, hey, listen, I know this is probably a pain in the neck for you, but what were your plans when you were trying to sell this house? And then he's like, well, we were going to move, and again, he kind of rants at me again. I ended up selling the house for him, and
Sure
he
you did.
apologized to me. He was like, sorry, man, I lost. He goes, you were the eighth guy that called me that morning, though. I go, I believe it was a great sale, right? Like,
Yep.
I don't doubt it. So everybody was calling him because it expired and it was a great sale. Problem was his agent just didn't handle it correctly, right? And again, we talked about this a million times. He had an offer. He was offended by the offer, right? And I was like, well, don't be offended by an offer. Don't ever be offended by an offer.
That's
You
right.
had an offer. It
That's
was
right.
up to your agent to work that offer now, right? And
Yep.
to get it to something that you can all agree on. But don't be offended by getting an offer in, you know.
Yeah, you got to take the E out, take the E out of the emotion, take the emotion out of it. I love what Bethlehem said. It takes me to two places, right? The one is where you were going with, you've got to be the voice of reason, right? You have to be the steady and the calm in the storm. You have to be the one that they know is not going to rattle, who's not going to get emotional. When you get emotional with your client or emotional at your client or emotional with the agent on the other side of the deal, you are losing badly. You have to understand that you're losing this deal. You're losing control. Emotions cause you to lose control. You have to stay in control. The emotion has to stay out of it. So Bethlehem, I love that piece. The other piece, and when she said take the E out of emotion and stay in motion. Well, the adage, right? A body in motion stays in motion. If you're not moving, you're stagnant, you're not going to move. It's very difficult just to get up to start moving because you're paralyzed. I don't know where to start. Oh my God, I can't even start. I don't know what to start. Oh, I can't do that. And I go to pick up the phone. Oh, I can't call. Well, and you give yourself some excuses and reasons to not make the call. You put the phone in your hand, but then you won't make the phone call. No, you need to make the call. Get on the phone and make the call. Pick up the phone and do the next step. Go into, go do, whatever that's going to be. So body emotion stays in motion. Do something. If you're doing something, you'll continually do something. So you stay in motion that will get you down the path where you'll start to actually do income producing activities. That's where you need coaching. That's where you need to be trained. This is where you need people around you. This is where you need to be in environments that you can learn just by listening to others. And that's what's going to help you. And that's how you stay in motion. So I love what she said there, to take the E out of emotion and just stay in motion. Make sure you're constantly doing, but do income producing activities. And I'm stressing on that because if you're doing all the things that are busy work, you're going to stay plenty busy. Everyone's busy, but are you being busy being productive or are you being busy? If you're just being busy, you're not making any money with what you're doing. You're going to have failures. You're not going to have success and you're going to burn out. And you're going to say, this doesn't work for me. And I did everything right. Look, I did everything. I did it, Jimmy. I did it. And it didn't work for me. And then I'm just going to reinvent the wheel, kind of what Tom was talking about. And I'm great at that. Well, no, you're actually creating more busy work for yourself to not be productive. And when you stop being productive, you're not making any money. Then all of a sudden everything gets, because you got all the stress, and guess what happens? Like Bethlehem was talking about, the E pops back into emotion.
Yep.
Your emotion became emotion because you're failing. And now you just think you can't do it. And it crushes your confidence and everything else. And it just stockpiles and you buries yourself. And this is self-inflicted. This is what people do to self-sabotage. And they're not doing it purposely sometimes. It's because they think If they're busy, they're doing the right things. Don't be, you're going to be crazy busy if you're productive and you're having success, but you need to be doing income producing activities. So therefore the busy work becomes productive.
Love it. And it is true. Like I'm always big on preaching like activity breeds activity. So same thing, right? Like motion. Just when you just start doing things, right? Like you and I have coached agents for years now, right? And it's just start, just
Mm-hmm.
start, right? Like even if it's yeah, even if it's for 30 minutes today, right? Like whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is, but let's start doing something. And we've talked about it's like exercise, right? Like you just got to start, and then it becomes a habit, right? 21 days creates the habit. Then it just becomes routine, right? Then it just becomes like, all right, this is what I do. Now you can start to stack things on top of that. Once you focus on these three things and you got those three things rolling and things are moving, now we can talk about investing in real estate. Now we can talk about adding another revenue stream. Now we can talk about doing something else. But until you get good at like three things and you have revenue coming, like money coming in, stop stacking things because now you're just like stacking things that you're not going to do anyway. That's the part that gets me. It's like you're just stacking these things that you're not going to do anyway.
Sure.
you know, yeah, you're just not going to do those things anyway. So I find that interesting. And so as we're talking about wrapping up 2024, what is your what's your forecast? What do you forecast for 2025? What's our markets going to look like? What's going to be happening with everything? And what are your thoughts?
I think what we're seeing right now, if you start looking into what's going on with the markets and you look at what happened with an election, you have an election, and it's interesting in our country how everybody all of a sudden always knew to stay away from politics and religion, and now we are so involved in politics it's unreal, and we get so tied up in it. And I'm not going to talk to you. Yeah, a friend of mine that was at the tailgate yesterday, he's telling me, hey, I haven't seen him in a while. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's your daughters? And he's got a couple of daughters and a son. And I'm like, hey, how are your kids doing? He's like, my one daughter won't talk to me right now. She said she needs time off. And I'm like, she needs time off? Like, your daughter's like 40 years old. What do you mean time off? What does
Right.
that mean? And he goes, well, she's just the election. And, because I voted this way, and, she didn't like it. And so she was mad at me. So she said she needs time off from me for a while. She's going to have to take a few months before she can see me. So we're not going to meet for Christmas now. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, oh yeah, dead serious. And he was telling the truth. And I'm like, if who I voted for decides, our friendship, then there's something's really wrong. Not with me, with you, because if that's what you're worried about with me is who I voted for, that'd be like me saying, well, then, okay, I'm equally as upset with you voted for. And it's a two-way street. And we have to look at what's going on. So anytime there's a change, it's a change, and change can be good or change can be bad, but it doesn't necessarily mean either one until we kind of go down that path. Well, what we're seeing in the markets from the election is a ton of positive things in the markets. So if you look at the indicators right now, the forecast is very good for 2025. And I don't care what you liked or didn't like in the election. If the guy you got in or the girl didn't or didn't, and the guy did or didn't that you wanted, it's irrelevant. What is relevant is where we are and what we can control. Well, if you pay attention to what's going on in the markets, the indicators are saying that this is going to be a really much better year in 2025 in the real estate space and investing and the economy. So if the economy is going to take a shift, it takes time, people. Let's not think, by January 20th, all of a sudden magic happens. We
Right.
flip a switch and everything's great. It's
2% rates again.
That's not how it works. However, if you're already paying attention, you're seeing we're not waiting until January. It's already happening now, right? So if you look at what the rates are going to do and such, you can be optimistic. If you're looking what the housing market's going to do, you can be optimistic. If you're looking what the stock market does, which is all relevant to what we do, guys, these things impact what we do. You need to understand all the outside forces that pertain to this. They're all the markers are the wind's blowing in the right direction, if that makes sense. So I'm very optimistic of what 2025 looks like, Jimmy, compared to a horrific real estate year of 2024 horrific as far as in numbers and sales. Some people have their best years ever, right? They have their best years
Funny.
ever. So let's not think for a second there isn't tons of money sitting there. It's just a matter of there was so many stockpiles of money, and now it's just piles of money. The stockpiles aren't there right now on the shelves, but there's plenty of money still to be made. So if you look at 2025, if it is an increase at all, think about this. If we could say, hey, if it increased, 5 to 7%, will you be so tickled and so happy over, historically? Well, if it goes 10 or 15, we're going to be doing cartwheels. If it does 20, oh baby, look out, here it comes. I mean, it's like an avalanche.
Yeah.
So if you look at where we're down, it shifts, right? The market corrects itself, right? It's a balance. It's the weights, right? It's like the legal system, checks and balances. So when it goes to the pendulum swings too far one way, it comes back the other, and that's what you're going to see. It's going to come back, but how far? Who knows, right? No crystal ball here, but you can see again, all the indicators are telling us all positive things. So I would look for 2025 to certainly be somewhere that 5 to 7 historically. I think it'll be better. I do. I think it'll be more than 10% correction. So if that's the case, be prepared to go back to work and have some fun and enjoy what you're doing again and help a lot of people, because there will be more people in the market.
Yeah. I feel the same. I feel like it again, I don't know that we'll get down to 2s and 3s again for as far as rates go, but
No,
I
shouldn't, because you don't need to, and it shouldn't be that low.
correct.
Right? That doesn't help. It's short-term fix, not long-term help. So that I wouldn't. But if you can get back into the 4s, under a 5, I think you should be dancing in the streets and take that. And that's a good rate, guys. For historically, that's a good rate.
Oh, historically low, right? I mean, you're talking about like people brought this up with rates and when this year, and I was just talking to a mortgage guy yesterday. He was getting ready to refinance somebody because they'd been in their house for a year.
Mm-hmm.
They were at an 8% rate. They bought a year ago. Now he can get them down into almost a 6, right? Like he's gonna like that's significant, right? So
it is.
when you can save that much money, it's significant. Now, but when I bought my house, 24 years ago, I think our rate was 9. I think we bought it. I think our rate was like 9% when we bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were at a 9% rate when we bought it.
Yeah. I think what people need to pay attention to is seller financing is available a lot out there, and people don't even know it's there. They're not even looking at real estate agents. You're not even looking at that. Somebody who's got a 3% rate at 2.99, like Jimmy's talking about, the rates are double that, right? They're in the 6s. So if you could give them seller financing, the seller finances the house for them if they don't have to sell it to buy their next house, and they can go to their next one themselves. They can finance the people buying their house and get a rate, in the 4s, 4%, 4.5%, even 5% for that matter, and give these people a much better rate. So seller financing is something that's a really good option. And I don't think a lot of agents even understand what that even is, or that's available, or that's an option for a seller. You can do well because it'll get you more money for your house. So you can demand more money,
Yeah.
higher price. And then at the same time, you just provide the finance with the rate. I think you could really win. And if I'm working with a good buyer, I would be contacting some of these sellers. I would contact these expireds. I would contact these visibos. These are people that can't sell their house. And and some of them are in good equity positions. So if I look it up, you got to do a little work. But if I look up, somebody that's been in a house for 7 years or longer, if I look back and they've been in it for 15 years, oh, that's home run, man. You bought it right out of the crash. Are you kidding me? 2009, 2010, 2011. These were houses that you were stealing, right? They got out of steal. So I'm looking at that. And if I see people that are sitting that bought it during those couple, 2, 3, 4 years, and I look at them now and they're looking to potentially sell, but they wanted more money, then you can get it. They can demand the money because they've got rates that are phenomenal too. So you've got equity insane in that house, but at the same time, you've got the ability to do it. So I think if people paid attention to that or understood that or looked into that or want to learn more about that, we have options for, that, seller financing, I think, is a great option right now for a lot of people, and you can put a lot of deals together.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that the assumable loans, right? The FHA, the VA.
Yeah, I don't know how that's a little more difficult because you've got to do, things and subject tos and such get a little bit more sticky.
Yeah.
I agree that they're there though. You're right.
Yeah.
but I think there's a lot more out there than you'd think.
Yeah. Well, and again, for our Florida friends, it's big in Florida because everybody's old.
Oh, huge,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, it's big stuff. And again, I think 2025, according to our friend here, Dante, he said it's going to be a great year. Go Lions.
Is he awake? My man, my man, Dante, you're a beast, my friend. He was tailgating with me last night, right up to the end when we had to wait an hour to get out of that parking lot just to get on the road. To come home. Yeah, he's awake, my man. I love it. He's a stud, and I tell you what, he's a guy that also knows financing, so he knows his stuff really well. So he'd be a great guy to talk to on stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Dante's fantastic loan officer, mortgage guy. Like been doing it for 25 years, right?
Yeah, he's been doing
Like,
it. I think since he started crawling.
yeah. Well, yeah, because Dante's only 35, so he's been doing it for 25 years. He's only 35. It's amazing.
Yep.
um,
Good stuff. He's a hell of a tailgater too. He goes, man.
oh, he just said he couldn't miss the podcast. God bless you, gentlemen. It's been 31 years.
31 of the games. He started when he was 4.
Yeah.
He's one of those fortunate people. He looks 35.
That's right. That's right.
That's great.
Yeah, man. So with the last couple of minutes, like what's your biggest piece of advice for an agent, whether they're new, veteran, whatever, and it's probably two different pieces of advice, but for like rolling into 2025, if you're a new agent, what would be your biggest piece of advice for a new agent?
I think for a new agent, it would be two things. One, you had talked about it earlier. If I'm brand new to the game, I'm looking for an environment that in my surrounding to make sure I'm surrounding myself by people who are having success so I can understand how to have it quicker. I don't want to work for, and I'm trying not to pick on anybody, but I don't want to go to a brokerage where I walk in and they're like, yeah, we've got 350 agents that work here. And I walk in there and there's no one there.
Yeah.
That's not a good place for a new agent. And what do I mean? Oh, what are you talking about, Kurt? We've got all these resources. I'm not dogging out your brokerage. What I'm saying is they need to be in an environment. If they're new, they need to be surrounded by other people. Success leaves clues, and you've got to be able to hear other people, right? You've got to be able to build your business somehow. Well, the best way to do it is to be able to see it being done. So I would make sure that I was at a place, and it's probably a team. And like I said, that you brought up, I would probably start there because a team, you're on a team for as long as you want to be on a team. You might be on a team forever. You might be only be on a team for a couple of years. I don't know, whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. And there's people, I would never join a team. Well, that's said by a lot of people also who say that they've never made any money either. So I wouldn't listen to advice of people who aren't having a level of success that I'm looking for. And again, not poo-pooing anybody's business. It's just, if I'm going to, I say this, I use this a lot. If I was going to go to a brokerage that's got a productivity coach who gets paid $42,000 to teach you to sell real estate, that would scare me. I would run from that. And people are like, what are you talking about? At least they have somebody. Well, I agree. It's better than nothing. But the truth is, if I want to learn how to make money, I don't want to learn to make money from somebody that makes $42,000. I need to be around people that are making $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, $1 million, because that's where I'm going to learn how to actually have success and do this. So I've got to be around the people that are actually doing it at the level I'm hoping to get to, or above that level that I'm even trying to get to, because you'll get there a lot quicker, right? If you run with horses, you're going to run like a horse, right? If you run with sheep, you're going to run like a sheep. It's just not going to be the same. You can go in herds. You can be surrounded by it. It's fluffy and it's soft, but you're not going to really get anywhere. And that's going to be difficult for you. And you're going to be out of the game. If you're new, you want to have something that will give you at least a little bit of success quickly, because that's going to give you the momentum to continue to go. If you don't have any momentum, you can't go. So again, back to that, body emotion stays in motion. You've got to be going down that path. So to me, that's really where I would focus. If I was new, I would make sure that I got it into a place, wherever that is, whatever's good for you, around people who are doing a good amount of business, so I could be in that environment. You are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. I'm going to surround myself with people that are actually doing a lot of business, so I can see how they're doing it. I can learn how to do it a lot faster.
That's right. That's right.
That'd be the best advice I would give.
I love it. Yep. And then we got a couple last comments here. Dave said this time of year is let everyone know you're an agent at every function.
Oh my God.
right?
There's never a better time than this and the end of the year. There are more parties, there's more celebrations, all the holidays. There's so many get-togethers. You're going to go to so many places, even when you go to the store, right? If you get out in the malls today, I know a lot of malls are, but if you're out in the shopping areas and the big stores and things like that, you're around a lot of people. When you're at these parties, you're around people that you know. You're with your friends. You're with your family. You have to remind them what you do for a living, that you help people buy and sell real estate. That's what you do. You are the end all be all to anything real estate related. If they want to talk mortgage, they need to be talking to you, even though you're on the real estate side, not on the mortgage side, because you are the conduit to connect them to the mortgage people. If they're looking for home repairs, if they're looking for someone in the family's passed away and there's a house that they've got, you need to make sure that they understand that you're the shell answer man. You're the end all be all. Anything real estate related or anything relating to real estate, they should be going to you for the answers. If you're that person to them, your business will soar. This is a great time. This is the time you make sure everybody remembers what you do for a living.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, man, look, this hour goes by so fast.
Yeah.
It goes by so fast. Well, hey, listen, I want to thank you for joining me, Kurt. Appreciate the time this morning. KGCI Radio, that's first rolling that out there today on this morning. Our Breakfast Club call. 5 days a week, we have that Breakfast Club call. It's 248-803-0656. You can call that 7:30, 5 days a week, and get a free coaching call. So anybody can jump on that call, but I appreciate you guys, the time, the effort it puts in on Friday morning. Join us next Friday, the Elite Real Estate Podcast. Kurt, thanks again for joining me, my friend.
Jimmy, love you, brother. Thank you much. Appreciate you, man. You're killing it.
Thanks, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
I like the music.
It's all AI, buddy.
Crazy.
It is
crazy.
So that's my out music. So I have two intro musics, right? So this one.
No, there you go.
Yo, welcome to the ride. Elite minds collide. Get ready for the hustle. Hear the echoes of pride from the sea where the dreams are felt. Shine bright, making move top tier when it feels so right. Interviews with legends, secrets that a share. If the stories of success, find the vision, get aware. Jimmy Nelson in the house, turning dreams to gold. Tune in, take a listen, walk the fortune.
Jimmy Nelson in the house.
And then I got this one.
Talking dreams we chased since we were both just a child. Entrepreneurs, heartbeats like a midnight train. In the game of sales, ain't no room for the plane. Mindset of steel, we never look back.
And if you listen to the lyrics, it says never look back, which is the sign behind me. And then it says no pressure, no diamonds, and take the risk, right? So those three things are all in this song.
That is awesome.
AI is a crazy place, man. AI is a crazy place. So yeah, man, it was cool. The radio thing, I ran that. I was on with Ian at 7:00 this morning to make sure all of our radio stuff was working. So we were live on KGCI today.
That's fantastic. That's really great.
Yeah, it was cool. Like it's actually, I thought it was going to be harder than it is, but I just had to download some stuff to my computer and some new systems and stuff on my computer.